Hannah prayed for a long time to have a child. And eventually, God gave her that wish, and Samuel was born to her. She promised God that when he was born, that she would to give him to the Lord, that she would dedicate him to the Lord, and that the Lord would lead his life. And that's exactly what she did. How difficult it must have been for her to take the baby and give it to the Lord in the temple. We can't understand that today. But in a real way, and it's difficult for parents to let their children go, even when they go off to college, when they go off to be married to someone, it's difficult for them to let them go. But they must, because the children do not really belong to the parents, they belong to God. And God has a purpose for them, and they must fulfill that purpose. And so their education, their learning, their developing a skill or a trade, whatever it might be, is what they need to do. Our Blessed Mother is the perfect example of committing herself totally to the Lord. We must give ourselves to the Lord. We don't belong, we don't belong to our parents, we belong to God. Every one of us belongs to God. And so we in our hearts have to accept that and give ourselves over to the Lord. And when we do, that's the only way that we're going to find happiness in this life, because we are destined to be one with the Lord for all eternity. And what we do on earth from our birth until the time of our death is very important to the Lord. And so it's just a reminder to us tonight that we have to have the humility of Mary. Even if we're an adult full of all kinds of responsibilities, we still are children of God. And we have to realize that we depend upon God for all things, and we trust that he is with us. It's only in being totally united. Jesus was born as a tiny baby in Bethlehem. That's what we're about to celebrate in a couple days. G.K. Chesterton said that the hands that made the sun and the moon and the stars were too small to even reach the heads of the cattle. The Lord humbled himself to become one of us as a little child. And he was born into the world just like we are, and he grew up with confronted with the same situations that we do. And he sets the example for us. He wants so much to be a part of our lives. What we need to do on Christmas Day is to allow him to come to us and realize that he was born for us. As I've said many times, if you were the only person born in the world, Jesus would have come to save you. And that's an awesome thought for me. And so tonight, as we're nearing the end of Advent, we thank God for the gift of his Son, and we ask him to help us each day to grow closer to him and realize his presence with us is the most important thing in our lives. Let us stand and offer our prayers and petitions.